Evening, everybody. It is 5:54, and this is your closing comment for today, Tuesday, the 9th. Okay, so let's start with the chart on the screen is the oil, and it was a little bit of a disappointment because it got up to, well, I told you I wanted to see a close above 90.66, which it did yesterday. And that was, close, but 90.76, and it did continue up today as high as 92.65, which is right into that area I told you about between 92, 93, and 95. So I was a little disappointed that it closed down on the day, even though it was only 26 cents. And fortunately, it was not all the way on the low, but it was 2/3 down on the day. Looking at it over a couple of day period, it is still a little bit on the constructive side, but looking at it as a lower high after a blow off top, not so much. So I'm hoping that we get a little follow through tomorrow on the upside. Another one that was a little bit of a disappointment, but not really much, was the gold. And the gold actually was up $7. It did make a new recovery high on the day, trading as high as 18.17, but it closed at 18.12.30 up here, which was about 3/4 or 7/8 up on the range of the day. So, we are having a series of higher highs, higher lows in general since the bottom. I am concerned about this 1820 to 1835 area. I can't imagine it goes right through this 1850, but the 5-day is definitely turned up. The 20-day has turned up. The 50-day is still headed a little lower, but we're all above it. So we'll have to see how that works. The other thing I just want to mention, just going back to the oil, even though the oil itself was down, heating oil was up 15 cents, which is almost 5%. Gasoline was up 7.5 cents, which on $3 is, uh, still 2%. Nat gas was up a little. So it was only the primary that was down. The products were all higher. Bitcoin gave up yesterday's gain. The dollar was down 7 cents. The bonds were down right around a quarter. And the markets were all lower. So let's talk about that. The big loser today was the big winner yesterday and the day before, which is the Russell 2000, the small caps. They closed down 28.31 or 1.5%, 1.46. We were a little wishy-washy this morning, and the Dow was actually looking at a slightly higher open, but after that open, they all sank like stones. The chips being obviously the big loser today, on further guidance from another couple of companies, and the Dow finished down 58, which was less than 0.2%. Nasdaq though was down 150 and change, which was 1.2%. The S&P down 17 or 0.4, and the transports down about 0.9%, down 126. As far as individual companies, after the close today, we had Coinstar with a miss both top and bottom. You have to remember that this stock was dramatically higher. This year, the high has been 282. Last year, the high was 429. It closed the day at 87.68 in regular hours. And then after the close, let me just make sure that this number is right. Yeah, 87.67. It traded down as low as 81.5. The last is 83.70. That's down 14.36 or almost 15%. But as I said, regular hours, it was already 87. So 87.68. Not, not an overwhelming um, move to the downside on that disappointment. But as I said, it's come down a long way. Roblox also a miss, closed 47.35, traded as low as 40.10 on their loss. Last is 41.47, down 7.43 or 15%. Remember, Roblox was also a high flyer at up around 140. Sweet Green, which is a um, salad based restaurant, also issued poor guidance. The stock is 1330, down 355 or 21%. This one had a high of 56 and change. Trade Desk, dramatically better um, guidance. The stock is trading 63.60, up $9.10, up 16%, and the high there was 114. So while it's been cut in half or over cut in half, it's not down 80 and 90% like some of these. Signet Jewelers, poor guidance, and the purchase of Blue Nile, which is another online service, not a big deal, 360 million. The stock had closed 67.67, got down as low as 57.32. Last at the close, regular trading 59.75. So it did come back a bit, but still down 792 or 11.7%. And last but not least, the one that I warned everybody about, MEGL, the actual name of which is Magic Global, I believe. Let me just pull it up just to make sure I'm right. Magic Empire Global Limited. This was the one that I warned you about. It's another Chinese fintech. They brought out 5 million shares at $4. The stock opened on the first day of trading on Thursday at 50, traded as high as 250 yesterday, closing down at 117. Today, the last trade that I have is 1404, down 102.85 or 87%. So today's high, it opened to the downside from that 117. It opened down 20, traded up to just under 90, then traded down to 1171. The volume really expanded here. It had traded in the 5 to 700,000 on Thursday and Friday. Today traded just under 11 million, which is well over double the outstanding. Tomorrow, of course, is the CPI. That ought to be very big, and it ought to take this market in one direction or the other. I'm kind of flustered with, is good news or is bad news good news? I don't think it's going to matter to the Fed one way or the other, uh, because there are other signs that will keep them going in the same direction. There were a couple of Fed people who have talked in the last day or two, and they see no reason to not be looking at 50 to 75 again in September. They don't have a meeting in August, but that would not preclude them from doing something in between meetings. So we'll have to see what that CPI looks like tomorrow and the PPI on Friday, with the uh, uh, unemployment claims in the middle on Thursday. All right, everyone, have a good evening. I'll be back in the